Have you ever felt like you're trapped in the same cycle, repeating the same patterns and facing the same challenges over and over again? Like you're running on a hamster wheel, exhausting yourself but never actually moving forward? That feeling of being stuck isn't just frustrating. It's a signal that you're ready for something more, something transformative. There's something magical about November, a unique energy that seems to whisper possibilities into the crisp autumn air. Has this ever happened to you? That moment when you suddenly realize you're standing at a crossroads and the path you've been walking no longer feels aligned with who you're becoming? This isn't coincidence. It's your inner wisdom recognizing that you're ready to shed the skin of October and step into a higher version of yourself. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. The breakthrough you've been searching for, that elusive transformation that seems to dance just beyond your fingertips, isn't waiting for you in some distant future. It's here now, in this very moment, waiting for you to claim it. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share with you could completely revolutionize how you approach personal transformation. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that change happens gradually, that we need to work and struggle and push against resistance to create the life we desire. But what if the most powerful shifts happen in an instant? What if the version of yourself that's been struggling, waiting, and hoping could meet the version that's ready to transform in one decisive moment of clarity? November carries a different vibration than the months that came before. Can you feel it? It's not just because the seasons are shifting or because the holiday energy is building. It's because something deep within you has decided that you're no longer willing to remain as you were. There's a version of you, higher, cleaner, clearer, that's been patiently waiting in the wings. And this month, this is the month you finally meet them. What you're about to discover might surprise you in its simplicity, yet challenge you in its application. The truth is, most of us have been approaching transformation from entirely the wrong angle. We've been taught to chase, to strive, to prove ourselves worthy of our desires, when all along the secret has been in a completely different direction. The most powerful shifts don't happen through more doing. They happen through a fundamental change in your state of being. And it all begins with understanding that the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't a matter of distance, but a matter of perception. When we look at the world around us, our circumstances, relationships, financial situation, we often assume that's where transformation needs to begin. We think, if only my situation would change, then I could finally become who I'm meant to be. But this approach has the entire process backward. True transformation doesn't begin in the external world. It happens within you first, and then manifests outwardly as reality reorganizes itself around your new state of being. Join our community of conscious creators by clicking the subscribe button now. Transform your reality with every video. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a fundamental principle that shapes every aspect of human experience. Your inner landscape, your thoughts, beliefs, and most importantly, your sense of identity creates the template that your external reality conforms to. Like a projector casting images onto a screen, your consciousness is constantly projecting your inner state onto the canvas of your life. The renowned spiritual teacher, Florence Scovel Shinn, understood this profound truth decades ago. She recognized that the outer world is merely a reflection of our inner state, a mirror that shows us not what is objectively true, but what we hold to be true within ourselves. Every circumstance in your life right now, whether joyful or challenging, is showing you something about your inner relationship with yourself and the world. The hidden revelation that changes everything is this: what you've been seeking, the abundance, the love, the confidence, the peace, isn't something you need to acquire through struggle or effort. It's something you need to remember. It's already within you, waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. This mindset revolution completely transforms the journey of personal growth. Instead of constantly reaching outside yourself for validation, resources, or opportunities, you begin to recognize that the seeds of everything you desire already exist within you. The path forward isn't about becoming something you're not. It's about removing the barriers to what you truly are. Behind the scenes of every significant breakthrough is this same pattern, a shift in identity that precedes the external change. Look at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life. They didn't just use techniques or follow strategies. They became different. Their energy, their presence in the world shifted first, and their circumstances followed as a natural consequence. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because most people misunderstand this principle in a crucial way. They hear inner transformation precedes outer change and think it means visualizing harder or reciting more affirmations. But the profound impact comes from something far more fundamental, a genuine shift in how you perceive yourself at the core level of identity. This isn't about adding more tools to your manifestation toolkit. It's about recognizing that you are the tool. Your state, your frequency, your embodied presence is what creates your reality. And when you understand this, your entire approach to creating change shifts from doing to being, from seeking to remembering, from chasing to embodying. The decision you make from this moment forward will determine whether this revelation becomes just another concept you learned once or the catalyst for the most significant transformation of your life. Write in the comments, "I choose being overdoing," if you can feel something shifting already as we explore this profound truth together. The journey of transformation often appears to be about crossing vast distances between who you are now and who you want to become, between your current circumstances and your desired reality. But what if I told you that this perceived gap isn't about distance at all? It's about perception. The version of you that's thriving, abundant, and fulfilled doesn't exist in some far-off future that you need to struggle toward. That version of you exists right now, in this moment, as potential waiting to be recognized and embodied. November carries a unique energy, a calling to elevate your consciousness beyond the limitations you've been accepting as reality. Can you feel it? That gentle but persistent nudge from deep within, urging you to stop playing small, to stop waiting for permission to be who you truly are. This month isn't just another collection of days on the calendar. It's an invitation to a higher way of being. Behind the scenes of every profound transformation is a fundamental shift in perspective. When you change how you see yourself and your relationship with reality, everything changes. Not because the external world magically rearranges itself to suit your preferences, but because your perception filters what you can and cannot experience. The lens through which you view life determines what opportunities you notice, what possibilities you can imagine, and ultimately, what reality you create. The revelation that's transforming lives around the world is that this shift doesn't require years of spiritual practice or mastering complex manifestation techniques. It begins with just 2 words, 2 simple yet profoundly powerful words that, when spoken from the right state of consciousness, can break the spell that's been running your life. These aren't magical words in themselves. Their power lies in the perspective shift they trigger when truly understood and embodied. They contain within them the wisdom to collapse time, to bridge worlds, to fundamentally alter your relationship with everything you desire. When spoken with conviction, they don't just change your thoughts, they change your entire identity. The mindset you've been operating from, the one that says you need to chase, prove, earn, and struggle before you can have what you want, has been running like an invisible program in the background of your consciousness. This hidden operating system shapes your experiences, often without your awareness. And until you address this core programming, no amount of positive thinking or visualization will create lasting change. What makes these 2 words so revolutionary is that they don't just add another layer to your existing mindset. they completely rewrite the operating system itself. They shift you from the paradigm of seeking to the paradigm of having, from wanting to embodying, from pursuing to being. This isn't about denying your current reality or engaging in wishful thinking. It's about recognizing a deeper truth that exists beneath the surface of appearances. The impact of this perspective shift extends far beyond manifestation. It transforms how you show up in relationships, how you approach challenges, how you make decisions, and ultimately, how you experience every moment of your life. It's a complete rewiring of your relationship with reality itself. I've seen this transformation unfold countless times, watching people move from constant striving to peaceful, allowing, from anxious attachment to confident certainty, from fragmented focus to aligned purpose, all beginning with these two words that we're about to explore together. Type in the comments, "I'm ready for the revelation," if you can feel yourself standing at the threshold of a profound shift in consciousness. The two words I'm about to share with you aren't just another affirmation to add to your already overflowing collection of spiritual practices. What I'm offering today is something far more profound, an invitation to step into a state of being so powerful that it will silently yet dramatically redirect the entire trajectory of your reality. This invitation isn't about doing more or trying harder. It's not about adding another technique to your spiritual toolkit. The journey of transformation we're embarking on together requires something much deeper than external action. It requires an internal revolution, a fundamental shift in the way you perceive yourself and your relationship with everything you desire. Think about it. How many times have you tried a new manifestation technique, feeling initially excited, only to find yourself back in the same patterns weeks later? The reason is simple, yet profound. We've been focusing on changing our thoughts when what really needs to shift is our identity. This revelation completely transforms the landscape of personal development. Most approaches focus on modifying behaviors or thoughts, assuming that if you think differently, you'll eventually become different. But master teachers throughout history have understood that true transformation works in the opposite direction. When you change who you are, being at the core level, your thoughts and actions naturally realign with that new identity. The perspective shift I'm describing isn't about positive thinking or forcing yourself to feel good when you don't. It's about recognizing that on a fundamental level, you are not separate from your desires. The very fact that you can conceive of them means they already exist within you as potential, as possibility, as seeds waiting for the right conditions to bloom. When you begin to operate from this understanding, everything changes. Your decisions become different. Your actions become different. Even your body language and the energy you bring into a room become different. Not because you're trying to change them, but because they're natural expressions of your new state of being. Behind the scenes of every lasting transformation is this same pattern, a shift in identity that precedes any external change. The person didn't just adopt new habits or recite different affirmations. They fundamentally altered how they perceived themselves in relation to everything they desired. And from that new perception, a different reality naturally unfolded. The mindset shift we're exploring together isn't gradual, it's revolutionary. It doesn't build on your existing framework. It completely replaces it with something infinitely more aligned with your true nature. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about removing the barriers to who you already are beneath the layers of conditioning and limiting beliefs. The journey ahead requires courage, the courage to question everything you thought you knew about how reality works, the courage to let go of familiar patterns even when the new feels uncertain, the courage to trust the process of becoming before you see external evidence. Right in the eyes. Comments, "I'm ready to bridge the gap," if you can feel something shifting already, even before hearing these two powerful words. The gap that exists between where you are and where you want to be isn't actually filled by doing more. It's filled by accessing a deeper part of yourself, a part that already knows exactly how to create the life you desire. This wisdom isn't something you need to acquire. It's something you need to uncover, to remember, to allow back into your conscious awareness. For Most of your life, you've been operating under a powerful mindset that says you need to chase, prove, and struggle before having what you want. This belief system has been running like an invisible program in your consciousness, silently shaping every decision, every action, every relationship. It's the hidden operating system that determines what you believe is possible for you and what you believe you must do to get it. Subscribe now to continue this journey of transformation and stay connected with powerful wisdom that can change your life. Think about how this plays out in your everyday life. When you want something, whether it's financial abundance, a loving relationship, vibrant health, or meaningful work, what's your instinctive approach? For most people, the automatic response is to chase, to qualify, to earn, to prove worthiness. We've been conditioned to believe that having what we desire requires struggle, that there must be sacrifice before success, pain before pleasure, effort before ease. This programming runs so deep that we rarely question it. It feels like truth because it's all we've known. But this very mindset, this core operating system, is precisely what keeps your desires at arm's length, perpetually in the future, always coming but never quite here. The revelation that changes everything is this: until you address this core operating system, no amount of positive thinking or visualization will create lasting change. You can recite perfect affirmations, create detailed vision boards, follow all the manifestation techniques to the letter, but if your fundamental identity, your sense of who you are in relation to what you desire, remains unchanged, you'll continue to experience the same patterns. It's like trying to download a new app on an outdated operating system. The app might work temporarily or partially, but eventually, the limitations of the operating system will prevent it from functioning as intended. No matter how many spiritual apps you download, if the operating system itself isn't updated, transformation remains fragmented and temporary. The journey we're on isn't about adding more tools to your spiritual toolkit. It's about upgrading the very foundation upon which all those tools operate. It's about rewriting the core program that's been running your life, often without your awareness or consent. And this upgrade doesn't happen gradually through repetition or practice. It happens in an instant, through recognition and decision. What would it feel like to let go of the belief that you must struggle before succeeding? What would change if you no longer felt the need to prove your worthiness before receiving what you desire? How would your energy shift if you stopped positioning yourself as separate from what you want and started recognizing it as already yours by divine right? These aren't just philosophical questions. They're invitations to step into a new paradigm of being, one that naturally attracts rather than frantically chases, that calmly knows rather than anxiously hopes, that peacefully embodies rather than desperately seeks. Drop in the comments, "I'm ready to upgrade my operating system," if you can feel the truth of what I'm sharing, resonating at a deeper level than just intellectual understanding. What I'm about to share with you might seem deceptively simple. Just 2 words. But these 2 words contain the power to rewrite your entire program, to fundamentally alter the operating system that's been running your life. Their power doesn't lie in the words themselves. Anyone can say them. Their transformative impact comes from the revelation they contain when truly understood and embodied. I can't just give them to you yet, though. If I did, your mind would hear them, but your being wouldn't receive them. And this distinction is crucial to understand. There's a world of difference between intellectual understanding and embodied knowing, between a concept you grasp with your mind and a truth you recognize in your bones. The journey we're on isn't about adding more information to your mental database. It's about activating a different kind of knowing altogether, one that registers at the cellular level, that rewires your nervous system and rearranges your energetic signature in the world. This embodied knowing doesn't just change what you think. It transforms who you are at the most fundamental level. Think of it like the difference between reading about how to ride a bicycle and actually riding one. You can understand the mechanics perfectly, how to balance, how to pedal, how to steer, But that understanding doesn't guarantee you can actually do it. The knowing that allows you to ride comes through your body, through direct experience, through falling and getting back up, through the intelligence of your muscles and nerves as they learn a new way of being. Transformation works in the same way. You can understand all the spiritual principles, intellectually, but until they become embodied, until they move from concept to felt experience, they remain separate from you, ideas you visit rather than truths you live. Behind the scenes of every profound transformation is this shift from mental comprehension to embodied knowing. The mind can only take you so far. Beyond that threshold lies the territory of the body, the heart, the soul, the aspects of yourself that don't think in words, but know through resonance, through alignment, through recognition. When you truly embody a new state of being, you don't need to remember to think differently. Your thoughts naturally align with your new state. You don't need to force yourself to make different choices. Your choices organically reflect who you've become. This is why embodiment is infinitely more powerful than affirmation. Affirmation attempts to convince your mind of something it doubts. Embodiment bypasses the mind altogether and speaks directly to your entire being. The decisions you make from this moment forward will determine whether these two words become just another concept you learned once or the catalyst for the most significant transformation of your life. This is why we need to approach them with reverence, with presence, with the understanding that we're not just playing with ideas, we're engaging with the very fabric of our reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into why most people remain stuck in patterns of waiting and wanting despite all their spiritual knowledge and practice. There's a fundamental misunderstanding at play, one that even the most advanced teachers often miss. And it's this misunderstanding that keeps the gap between you and your desires feeling unbridgeable. Share in the comments, "I'm ready for embodied knowing," if you can feel the difference between intellectual understanding and the deeper knowing I'm describing. The fundamental misunderstanding I'm about to share with you is so subtle yet so pervasive that it infiltrates nearly every spiritual teaching, every manifestation technique, every approach to personal transformation. Even the most advanced teachers often miss this crucial distinction. And it's precisely this misunderstanding that keeps the gap between you and your desires feeling unbridgeable. Here's the revelation. Most approaches to manifestation position you as separate from what you desire. They inadvertently reinforce the very gap they're trying to help you cross. When you say, "I want to manifest abundance," the energy of that statement places abundance outside of you, something to be acquired, attracted, or achieved, rather than something to be recognized and embodied. This subtle positioning creates an energetic distance between you and what you desire. It's like standing on one side of a river, looking across at what you want on the opposite bank, and then wondering why the river never seems to get any narrower despite all your efforts to cross it. The very act of wanting maintains the separation. Think about how this plays out in your everyday experience. When you desire something, whether it's financial freedom, a fulfilling relationship, vibrant health, or meaningful work, there's an underlying feeling that it exists somewhere else, that there's a journey to be traveled before you can have it. This perception of distance isn't just psychological, it's energetic. It creates a frequency of seeking rather than having, of wanting rather than being. The journey ahead requires a fundamental reorientation in how you perceive yourself in relation to everything you desire. It asks you to question the very foundation upon which you've been building your understanding of how manifestation works. This isn't about adding more techniques to your spiritual practice. It's about recognizing the flaw in the underlying premise that's been guiding your approach. When you truly understand what I'm sharing, something profound happens. The perceived gap between you and your desires begins to dissolve, not because you finally figured out how to cross it, but because you recognize there was never actually a gap in the first place. The separation was an illusion created by a limited perspective. This insight transforms everything about how you approach creating change in your life. Instead of focusing on what you need to do to get what you want, you shift your attention to who you need to be to naturally attract what's already yours by divine right. Instead of asking, how can I manifest this? You begin asking, what version of myself already has this, and how does that version feel, think, and move through the world? The revelation that changes everything is that manifestation isn't about becoming worthy enough to receive what you desire. It's about removing the barriers to what's already yours, the limiting beliefs, the false identities, the energetic patterns that have been keeping you separate from your natural state of abundance, love, and fulfillment. I want you to consider this question. What if what you've been seeking has actually been seeking you? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the belief that you're separate from it? Write in the comments, the gap is an illusion, if you're beginning to see how this fundamental misunderstanding has been shaping your experience all along. Now, I want to explore something profound with you, something that completely transforms how we understand the process of manifestation. Think about it this way. Beneath the surface-level mind that's constantly racing with thoughts, worries, and plans, there exists a deeper intelligence within you. This is the part of you that knows how to breathe without thinking, that keeps your heart beating, that orchestrates millions of cellular functions every second without your conscious direction. This deeper intelligence isn't confused about how to manifest what you want. It's already a master creator, but its voice has been drowned out by the noise of fear, the static of doubt, and the constant chatter of a world that profits from your disconnection from your own wisdom. When you feel stuck or limited, it's not because you lack the capacity to create what you desire. It's because you've lost access to the part of yourself that already knows how. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't actually filled by doing more, learning more techniques, or pushing harder against resistance. It's filled by accessing this deeper part of yourself, by clearing the pathway to this innate wisdom that has been with you all along. This revelation completely shifts the journey of transformation from one of acquisition to one of recognition, from seeking to remembering, from striving to allowing. Behind the scenes of every effortless manifestation is this same pattern. The person hasn't mastered new techniques or followed perfect formulas. They've simply reconnected with this deeper intelligence, allowing it to guide their decisions, their actions, their way of being in the world. They've quieted the noise of their conditioned mind long enough to hear the wisdom that was always there. Think about how this plays out in your everyday experience. Have you ever noticed how the solutions to problems often come when you're not actively thinking about them? Perhaps in the shower, during a walk, or just as you're falling asleep. This happens because in those moments of mental relaxation, your deeper intelligence has space to rise to the surface of your awareness. The answers you seek aren't found in more information or more effort. They're found in the silence between your thoughts, in the space where your authentic self resides. The journey we're on isn't about adding more to the noise of your life. It's about creating spaces of silence where this deeper wisdom can emerge. It's about recognizing that the version of you that's been struggling to figure everything out isn't the version that holds the answers you seek. There's another part of you, higher, wiser, more connected, that already knows the perfect path forward. What would change if you began approaching every situation from the perspective of this deeper intelligence rather than from your conditioned thinking? How would your energy shift if you stopped trying to figure everything out and started trusting the wisdom that's already within you? What might become possible if you allowed this deeper part of yourself to lead the way? The revelations you're seeking aren't found in more information. They're found in remembering what your deeper self has never forgotten, that you are already connected to everything you desire, that the path is already known, that the answers are already available. Write in the comments, I trust my deeper intelligence, if you're beginning to feel that shift from mental striving to inner knowing as we explore these profound truths together. This intelligence within you, this deeper wisdom, isn't confused about how to create the life you desire. It's already a master creator, orchestrating miracles of existence every moment without your conscious effort. Think about it. Your body knows how to heal a cut without you directing each cell. Your lungs know exactly how to extract oxygen from the air. Your heart knows precisely when to beat faster or slower, depending on what you need. This isn't random. It's evidence of an intelligence so profound that it makes our conscious thinking look elementary by comparison. Yet the voice of this wisdom has been gradually drowned out by the noise of fear, the static of doubt, and the constant chatter of a world that actually profits from your disconnection. Every advertisement that tells you you're not enough, every social comparison that makes you feel inadequate, every fear-based message that keeps you in survival mode, all of these create interference that blocks your access to this deeper knowing. The revelation that transforms everything is recognizing that your journey isn't about adding more to this noise. It's not about accumulating more spiritual techniques or manifestation formulas. It's about clearing the pathway to your innate wisdom that has been with you all along. It's about removing the barriers between you and what already exists within you. This shift in perspective completely revolutionizes how you approach transformation. Instead of constantly seeking outside yourself for answers, you begin to cultivate spaces of silence where your own wisdom can emerge. Instead of frantically chasing techniques and teachers, you start to trust the guidance that arises naturally when your mind is quiet. There's a profound distinction between desiring results and becoming the cause of those results. Most approaches to manifestation focus entirely on the desire, making it clear, making it strong, making it specific. But desire alone is like a seed without soil. It has potential, but nowhere to take root. The missing element, the true catalyst for transformation, is your state of being. Your state isn't your mood or your emotions or even your thoughts. It's the frequency you're broadcasting at the level of identity. It's who you are being moment to moment. And here's the hidden truth that changes everything. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. It matches your state with perfect precision, like a mirror reflecting back exactly what's placed before it. So, the breakthrough you're seeking doesn't come from wanting more intensely or visualizing more clearly. It comes from shifting your state of being, from one who is wanting, hoping, and waiting to one who is already embodying the essence of what they desire. This subtle but powerful distinction is what separates those who continuously chase their dreams from those who naturally attract them. When you operate from the deeper intelligence within you rather than the conditioned mind, your entire approach to creation shifts. You move from effortful striving to aligned allowing, from anxious wanting to peaceful having, from fragmented focus to coherent intention. You become a clearer channel for the creative force that has been within you all along. This journey of remembering your true creative power begins with a simple yet profound question. What if the breakthrough you've been seeking has been seeking you? Type in the comments, "I am the creator, not the seeker," if you're feeling the paradigm shift from chasing to embodying, from wanting to being. Now, I want to go even deeper into this distinction between desiring results and becoming the cause of those results, because this understanding completely transforms how manifestation works in your life. Most approaches to creation focus entirely on the desire, making it crystal clear what you want, visualizing it with perfect detail, feeling the emotions you think you'll feel when you have it. But desire alone is like a seed. Without soil, it has potential, but nowhere to take root. Your state of being is the missing element, the true catalyst for transformation. And your state isn't just your mood or your emotions or even your thoughts. It's much more fundamental than that. It's the frequency you're broadcasting at the level of identity, who you are being moment to moment. Think of it like a tuning fork vibrating at a specific frequency. That frequency doesn't attract what you're asking for. It attracts what it's resonating with. The hidden truth that changes everything is this: the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. It matches your state with perfect precision, like a mirror reflecting back exactly what's placed before it. When you understand this principle, you realize that the breakthrough you've been seeking doesn't come from wanting more intensely or visualizing more clearly. It comes from shifting your state of being from one who is wanting, hoping, and waiting to one who is already embodying the essence of what they desire. Think about how this plays out in your everyday life. When you're in a state of lack, constantly focusing on what's missing, the world around you seems to conspire to show you more evidence of scarcity. When you're in a state of worry about money, you suddenly notice all the unexpected expenses. When you're feeling lonely, you become hyper-aware of happy couples everywhere you go. It's not that the universe is punishing you, it's simply that your inner state creates a lens through which you perceive and interact with reality. And that lens becomes a filter that determines what you can and cannot experience. The profound revelation here is that the mirror never lies. If your life feels like a struggle, if opportunities seem to pass you by, if abundance feels just out of reach, these aren't random circumstances happening to you. They're precise reflections of your dominant state of being. The journey of transformation isn't about changing the reflection. It's about changing the one being reflected. This is why affirmations, vision boards, and manifestation techniques often fall short of creating lasting change. They're attempting to manipulate the reflection without addressing the source. It's like putting makeup on a mirror and expecting your face to look different. These approaches aren't wrong, they're just incomplete. They focus on the outer results without addressing the inner cause. The missing piece that most teachers skip over entirely is this. Manifestation isn't about learning techniques to get what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what they desire. The techniques aren't the destination, they're just scaffolding to support your inner transformation. The true mastery comes when you no longer need the techniques because you've embodied the state that naturally creates what you want. Type in the comments, "The mirror never lies," if you're beginning to see how your inner state has been creating your outer experiences all along. Behind every significant transformation in your life is a subtle yet powerful distinction that most people miss entirely. Most of us have been taught to focus on what we want, to clarify our desires, to set intentions, to visualize outcomes. And while these practices have value, they're still operating from the paradigm of wanting rather than having. They keep you in the energy of seeking rather than the energy of being. The breakthrough that changes everything comes when you understand this profound truth. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. It matches your state with perfect precision, like a mirror reflecting back exactly what's placed before it. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a fundamental principle that shapes every aspect of your experience. Think about the most effortless manifestations in your life, those times when something wonderful seemed to just fall into your lap without struggle or striving. If you look closely at those experiences, you'll notice something remarkable. They came when you weren't desperately seeking them. They arrived when you were simply being yourself, often focused on something else entirely, embodying a state of fulfillment rather than lack. This insight completely transforms how you approach the creation process. Instead of focusing primarily on what you're doing to get what you want, you shift your attention to who you're being. The subtle but revolutionary shift happens when you move from being someone who is wanting, hoping, and waiting to someone who is already embodying the essence of what they desire. When you embody the state of already having what you want, you broadcast a completely different frequency into the universe. You're no longer sending out the signal of lack, of separation, of not yet. You're broadcasting the signal of completion, of alignment, of already mine. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, can only reflect that back to you in your physical experience. The impact of this mindset revolution extends far beyond manifestation. It transforms how you show up in relationships, how you approach challenges, how you make decisions, how you carry yourself in the world. There's a quiet confidence, a peaceful certainty that comes from operating from the state of having rather than wanting. Not an arrogant certainty, but a deep knowing that what's meant for you is already yours by divine right. Look at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life. They didn't just use techniques or follow strategies. They became different. Their energy, their presence in the world shifted first, and their circumstances followed as a natural consequence. They didn't hope to become successful someday. They embodied the energy of success before the external evidence appeared. They didn't wait for circumstances to change before changing how they felt. They chose their state regardless of conditions. This distinction completely revolutionizes your approach to creating change. Instead of asking, "What do I need to do to get what I want?" the question becomes, "Who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want?" Instead of focusing on the having, you focus on the being. And when the being is aligned, the doing and the having follow with an ease that feels almost magical. Write in the comments, "I choose being over seeking," if you're ready to make this profound shift from chasing what you want to embodying what you are. The mindset shift I'm describing isn't about positive thinking or forcing yourself to feel good when you don't. It's about recognizing that on a fundamental level, you are not separate from your desires. This isn't just poetic language. It's a profound truth that transforms everything when fully understood. The very fact that you can conceive of what you want, that you can feel it, imagine it, long for it, means it already exists within you as potential, as possibility, as seeds waiting for the right conditions to bloom. Think about it this way. You can't desire something that doesn't already exist within your consciousness in some form. Just as an apple tree can only grow from an apple seed, your desires can only emerge from what's already encoded in your being. What you want isn't foreign to you. It's an extension of you, a natural expression of who you truly are beneath the layers of conditioning and limiting beliefs. When you begin to operate from this understanding, everything changes. Your decisions become different. Your actions become different. Even your body language and the energy you bring into a room become different. Not because you're trying to change them, but because they're natural expressions of your new state of being. Your state of being is like a broadcast signal you're constantly sending out into the universe. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a fundamental principle of how reality operates. The frequency you embody is the magnet that draws experiences, people, and circumstances that match that frequency. It's the attractor field that determines what can and cannot enter your experience. Think about how this plays out in your everyday life. Have you ever noticed how, when you're feeling joyful and open, the world seems to mirror that back to you? People smile more readily, opportunities appear more frequently, even the colors around you seem more vibrant. Conversely, when you're in a state of frustration or worry, those same environments suddenly seem hostile. Opportunities become obstacles, and the world takes on a darker hue. This isn't because the external world is changing. It's because your state is creating a filter through which you perceive and interact with reality. And that filter becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. Your state determines what you notice. What you notice influences how you feel. How you feel shapes your state. And on it goes. The revelation that transforms everything is recognizing that this isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. You are the broadcaster, the creator, the attractor field that's shaping your experience moment by moment. The circumstances in your life aren't random events happening to a passive recipient. They're precise reflections of the signal you've been consistently sending. When you truly understand this principle, you realize that the key to changing your circumstances isn't to fight against what is or to force what isn't. It's to shift your state of being. Not tomorrow when conditions improve, not next week when you have more time, not someday when you finally feel worthy, but now, in this moment, before any external circumstances have changed. This is where the real spiritual mastery begins. Anyone can want something badly. Anyone can learn techniques. But shifting your state of being without requiring external validation first, that's the work that separates conscious creators from perpetual seekers. Share in the comments, "I am the broadcaster," if you're beginning to feel the power of this principle and are ready to take responsibility for the signal you're sending into the universe. Now, I want to go even deeper into how your state of being creates the very reality you experience. When you're in a state of lack, constantly focusing on what's missing or what's not working, the world around you seems to conspire to show you more evidence of scarcity. It's as if the universe is holding up a magnifying glass to everything that confirms your belief in not enough. Not enough money, not enough love, not enough time, not enough opportunity. But this isn't the universe punishing you or confirming that your fears were justified all along. It's something far more profound. Your inner state creates the lens through which you perceive and interact with reality. When you're vibrating at the frequency of lack, you become hyper-aware of evidence that supports that story. You notice every empty bank account, every closed door, every missed opportunity, while simultaneously becoming blind to the abundance that exists all around you. This lens doesn't just filter what you perceive, it actively shapes the experiences that come into your life. Like a self-fulfilling prophecy, your dominant state draws to you more circumstances that match its frequency. Not because you're being rewarded or punished, but because like energy attracts like energy with perfect precision. The profound revelation here is that the mirror never lies. If your life feels like a struggle, if abundance seems elusive, if relationships feel complicated, these aren't random circumstances happening to you. They're precise reflections of your dominant state of being. The outer is always showing you the inner. Always, without exception. This understanding can be initially challenging to accept because it places the responsibility for your experience squarely in your hands. It's much easier to blame external circumstances, other people, bad luck, or timing for your struggles. But that perspective keeps you locked in a cycle of victimhood, always at the mercy of forces outside your control. The journey of transformation begins when you recognize that your experience isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. Your state of being is the hidden architect designing the blueprint of your life, moment by moment, day by day. And the beauty in this understanding is the freedom it gives you. If your state is creating your experience, then changing your state changes everything. Think about a time when your entire perception of a situation shifted in an instant. Perhaps you received information that completely reframed your understanding. Or maybe you simply decided to look at things differently. In that moment, nothing in your external circumstances changed. Yet everything changed because you changed. The situation remained exactly the same, but your experience of it transformed. Entirely. This revelation illuminates the path forward. Instead of fighting against what is or desperately trying to manipulate external circumstances, you focus on shifting your state of being. You recognize that the struggle isn't out there. It's within the lens you're looking through. And when you change the lens, you change what you see and what you experience. The hidden truth that most teachers miss is that this shift doesn't happen gradually through repetition or practice. It happens in an instant through recognition and decision. Type in the comments, "I choose a new lens," if you're beginning to see how your perception has been shaping your reality all along. This is why affirmations, vision boards, and manifestation techniques often fall short of creating lasting change. They're attempting to manipulate the reflection without addressing the source. It's like putting makeup on a mirror and expecting your face to look different. These approaches aren't wrong. They're just incomplete. They focus on the outer results without addressing the inner cause. The journey of transformation isn't about changing the reflection, it's about changing the one being reflected. When you understand this principle, you realize that struggling to change your circumstances through external action alone is like trying to change your reflection by moving your hands in the mirror. No matter how much you gesture and wave, the reflection can only show you what's standing before it. This revelation completely transforms how you approach the manifestation process. Instead of focusing primarily on what you're doing to get what you want, you shift your attention to who you're being. The impact of this mindset revolution extends beyond just material results. It changes how you experience every moment of your life. Manifestation isn't about learning techniques to get what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what they desire. The techniques aren't the destination. They're just scaffolding to support your inner transformation. The true mastery comes when you no longer need the techniques because you've embodied the state that naturally creates what you want. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation is a shift in identity that precedes the external change. Look at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life. They didn't just use techniques or follow strategies, they became different. Their mindset, their energy, their presence in the world shifted first, and their circumstances followed as a natural consequence. This distinction completely revolutionizes how you approach creating change. Instead of asking, "What do I need to do to get what I want?" the question becomes, "Who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want?" Instead of focusing on the having, you focus on the being. And when the being is aligned, the doing and the having follow with an ease that feels almost magical. The journey we're on isn't about adding more tools to your manifestation toolkit. It's about recognizing that you are the tool. Your state, your frequency, your embodied presence is what creates your reality. And once you understand this, you'll never approach manifestation the same way again. Right now, you're carrying two versions of yourself within you. The first version is the one you're most familiar with, the one who's been diligently following all the rules, doing everything right, checking all the spiritual boxes, yet still feeling the frustration of not seeing the results you desire. This version operates from a mindset of almost there, believing that with just a little more effort, just a little more time, just one more technique, everything will finally click into place. But there's another version of you that exists simultaneously, a version that's been quietly waiting in the background of your consciousness. This version knows something the first version doesn't, that you never needed to wait, that you never needed to earn what was already yours by divine right. Type in the comments, "I recognize both versions of myself," if you can feel the distinction between these two aspects of your being as we explore this profound truth together. This transformation we're discussing isn't about creating a new you. It's about allowing this second version, this authentic self, to take center stage in your life. It's about making a decision to stop identifying with the one who's waiting and start embodying the one who knows. This shift in identification isn't something that happens gradually over time. It's a choice you make in an instant, a decision to step into a new paradigm of being. True mastery and manifestation isn't found in perfect techniques or spiritual discipline. It emerges naturally when you no longer need the techniques because you've embodied the state that naturally creates what you want. Think about someone who's mastered a musical instrument. In the beginning, they had to consciously think about every finger placement, every note, every rule of music theory. But as mastery developed, all of that fell away. They no longer play the instrument. They become the music itself. There's no separation between player and played. They're one unified expression. The same principle applies to conscious creation. In the beginning, techniques serve as training wheels, helpful guides that support you while you're developing a new way of being. But true mastery comes when those training wheels are no longer necessary, because you've integrated the state of being that naturally attracts and creates what you desire. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation, whether it's wealth, health, relationships, or creative expression, is this same pattern, a shift in identity that precedes any external change. The person didn't just change their thoughts or behaviors, they became different at the core level of who they are and their circumstances, followed as a natural reflection of that inner transformation. Look at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life. Before they had the external evidence, they already carried themselves with the energy of success. Before the money arrived, they made decisions from a place of abundance. Before the relationship manifested, they related to themselves and others from a state of love and wholeness. Before the health improved, they began treating their body as if it were already healed. The shift in identity came first. The external results followed. The hidden truth that Florence Scovel Shinn understood so deeply was that we don't actually create our reality. We remember it. This subtle but revolutionary distinction changes everything about how you approach manifestation. When you're trying to create something, you're operating from a mindset of lack, believing that what you want doesn't exist yet and needs to be brought into being through effort and struggle. But when you're remembering, you're acknowledging that what you desire already exists in a higher dimension of consciousness, and your job is simply to align with it. This perspective completely shifts the impact of your manifestation practice. Instead of pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your desires, you're relaxing into a recognition that your desired reality is already complete. Your journey becomes one of alignment rather than creation, tuning your frequency to match what already exists rather than trying to build it from scratch. The path of manifestation is really a path of remembering who you truly are and what's already yours by divine inheritance. The mindset shift from creating to remembering feels completely different in your body. There's a relaxation, an ease, a sense of coming home to yourself rather than straining to become something you're not. Share in the comments, "I choose to remember, not create," if you can feel the difference between these two approaches and are ready to shift from striving to remembering what's already yours. Now, I want to explore what might be the most powerful question you can ask yourself when it comes to manifestation. Most people spend their lives focused on a single question: what do I need to do to get what I want? This question keeps them trapped in an endless cycle of doing, trying new techniques, following different strategies, checking off more boxes on their spiritual to-do list. But there's a far more powerful question that completely shifts the paradigm. Who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want? This simple reframing changes everything. It moves you from the realm of doing into the realm of being, from effort to embodiment, from forcing to allowing, from seeking to expressing. This distinction isn't just philosophical. It creates a fundamentally different experience of the manifestation journey. When you're focused on doing, there's always more to do, always another step to take, always another technique to master. It's exhausting, it's depleting, and paradoxically, it often keeps your desires perpetually out of reach, always around the next corner, just beyond the next task. But when you shift your focus to being, something remarkable happens. The journey itself transforms from one of striving to one of unfolding. You're no longer trying to get somewhere else. You're allowing what's already within you to emerge naturally. The pressure dissolves. The struggle ceases. The constant evaluation of, "Am I there yet?" fades away. Think about how this plays out in your everyday experience. When you're trying to force an outcome, there's tension in your body, anxiety in your mind, and a subtle undercurrent of fear that it might not work. But when you're simply being the energy you want to attract, there's a relaxation, an ease, a natural flow that permeates every action, every decision, every interaction. The journey we're discussing isn't about adding more tools to your manifestation toolkit. It's about recognizing that you are the tool. Your state, your frequency, your embodied presence is what creates your reality. Once you understand this profound truth, you'll never approach manifestation the same way again. When you truly get this, your entire relationship with creation shifts. Instead of seeing yourself as separate from what you desire, constantly reaching for something outside yourself, you recognize that you are the attractor field itself, the magnet, that naturally draws to you what already belongs to you by divine right. This revelation transforms not just what you create, but how you experience the creation process itself. There's a profound difference between pushing against reality, trying to bend it to your will, and simply embodying the frequency that allows what you desire to flow to you naturally. One feels like struggle, the other feels like dance. One depletes you, the other energizes you. One positions you as separate from your desires, the other recognizes you as one with them. The decision point comes when you recognize that the version of you that's been waiting was built on a fundamental misunderstanding. The version that gets what they want isn't waiting for permission to be who they are. They're not waiting for evidence to feel how they want to feel. They're not postponing their state of being until conditions improve. Write in the comments, "I am the creator, not the method," if you're beginning to feel the paradigm shift from doing to being as the pathway to manifestation. When we look deeper at the version of you that's been struggling to manifest what you desire, we find something revealing at its core, a foundation built entirely on waiting. This old identity has been structured around the belief that what you want exists somewhere in the future, and your job is to qualify for it, to earn it, to become worthy enough to receive it. Every action you take from this mindset is tinged with the energy of not yet, and that waiting becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the version of you that effortlessly attracts what they desire operates from an entirely different blueprint. This version isn't waiting for anything. They're being. They're embodying the frequency of their desire now, without needing external permission or validation. They understand that the journey isn't about becoming good enough to receive. It's about removing the barriers to what's already theirs. These two versions of yourself exist simultaneously within you right now. One is the self that's been diligently following all the rules, doing everything right, checking all the spiritual boxes, yet still feeling the frustration of not seeing the results you desire. This version operates from a mindset of almost there, believing that with just a little more effort, just a little more time, just one more technique, everything will finally click into place. Then there's the other version, the one that's been quietly waiting in the background of your consciousness. This version knows something the first version doesn't, that you never needed to wait, that you never needed to earn what was already yours by divine right. This version understands that the journey of manifestation isn't about becoming worthy enough to receive. It's about removing the barriers to what's already yours. The transformation we're discussing isn't about creating a new you. It's about allowing this second version, this authentic self, to take over the driver's seat of your life. It's about making a decision to stop identifying with the one who's waiting and start embodying the one who knows. This shift in identification isn't something that happens gradually over time. It's a choice you make in an instant, a decision to step into a new paradigm of being. The hidden truth that Florence Scovel Shinn understood so deeply was that we don't actually create our reality. We remember it. This subtle but revolutionary distinction changes everything about how you approach manifestation. When you're trying to create something, you're operating from a mindset of lack, believing that what you want doesn't exist yet and needs to be brought into being through effort and struggle. But when you're remembering, you're acknowledging that what you desire already exists in a higher dimension of consciousness, and your job is simply to align with it. This perspective completely shifts the impact of your manifestation practice. Instead of pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your desires, you're relaxing into a recognition that your desired reality is already complete. Your journey becomes one of alignment rather than creation, tuning your frequency to match what already exists rather than trying to build it from scratch. Behind the scenes of every spiritual tradition is this same understanding that what we're seeking isn't something new or foreign to us. It's our natural state, our birthright, the reality that exists when we remove the veils of limiting beliefs and false identities. The path of manifestation is really a path of remembering who you truly are and what's already yours by divine inheritance. Type in the comments, "I choose the authentic version of me," if you're ready to let that truer self take the driver's seat of your life from this moment forward. The mindset shift from creating to remembering feels completely different in your body. There's a relaxation, an ease, a sense of coming home to yourself rather than straining to become something you're not. And it's from this state, this aligned remembering state, that miracles begin to unfold naturally in your life. What's truly revolutionary about this shift is that it doesn't happen gradually over time. It's not a slow evolution where you incrementally become more worthy of your desires. It's a decision you make in an instant, a choice to step into a new paradigm of being. This might seem too simple to be true, but that's precisely why it works. Transformation at its most profound level isn't complicated, it's decisive. Think about moments in your life when everything changed in an instant. Perhaps you made a decision that altered your entire trajectory, or maybe you received an insight that completely reframed your understanding of something important. These quantum leaps in consciousness didn't happen through gradual improvement. They happened through recognition, a sudden alignment with a truth that was always there, waiting to be acknowledged. The hidden truth that Florence Scovel Shinn understood so deeply, that cuts through all the spiritual noise and gets straight to the heart of manifestation, is this: we don't actually create our reality. We remember it. This subtle but revolutionary distinction changes everything about how you approach manifestation. When you're trying to create something, you're operating from a mindset of lack, believing that what you want doesn't exist yet and needs to be brought into being through effort and struggle. But when you're remembering, you're acknowledging that what you desire already exists in a higher dimension of consciousness, and your job is simply to align with it. This perspective completely transforms the impact of your manifestation practice. Instead of pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your desires, you're relaxing into a recognition that your desired reality is already complete. Your journey becomes one of alignment rather than creation, tuning your frequency to match what already exists rather than trying to build it from scratch. Behind the scenes of every spiritual tradition is this same understanding that what we're seeking isn't something new or foreign to us. It's our natural state, our birthright, the reality that exists when we remove the veils of limiting beliefs and false identities. The path of manifestation is really a path of remembering who you truly are and what's already yours by divine inheritance. Now, let's explore what might be the most powerful truth Florence Scovel Shinn ever shared with the world. She understood a principle that cuts through all the spiritual noise and gets straight to the heart of manifestation. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. This single sentence contains the foundation of everything that works and everything that fails in your life. It's the skeleton key that unlocks why some people seem to effortlessly manifest their desires while others remain stuck in cycles of wanting and waiting. Type in the comments, "I attract what I am," if you're beginning to feel the power of this principle and are ready to shift your focus from what you want to who you're being. Think of it this way. There's a profound distinction between creating and remembering that completely transforms how you approach manifestation. When you're focused on creating something, you're inherently operating from a mindset of lack. You're positioning yourself as separate from what you desire, believing it doesn't exist yet and needs to be brought into being through effort, through striving, through proving yourself worthy enough to receive it. This perspective keeps you in a perpetual state of wanting, always reaching, always seeking, always trying to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And paradoxically, this very approach keeps what you desire at a distance, because the energy of seeking can never produce the experience of having. The frequency of not yet can never manifest as already here. But when you shift to remembering, everything changes. Remembering acknowledges that what you desire already exists in a higher dimension of consciousness. It's already complete, already perfect, already yours. Your job isn't to create it from nothing. It's to align with what already is. This perspective dissolves the perceived separation between you and what you want, because it recognizes there was never any separation to begin with. The implications of this shift are revolutionary. Your journey transforms from one of creation to one of alignment, from building something new to tuning your frequency to match what already exists. It's like the difference between trying to construct a house from scratch versus simply removing the blindfold that was preventing you from seeing the house that was always there. This mindset revolution doesn't just change the results you experience, it completely transforms the journey itself. When you're trying to create something that doesn't exist yet, there's struggle, there's strain. There's the constant question of, am I doing enough? But when you're remembering what already is, there's a natural ease, a relaxation, a coming home to yourself. The pressure dissolves, the anxiety fades, the need to qualify or prove yourself worthy simply falls away. Think about how this plays out in your everyday experience. When you approach a goal from the mindset of creating, you're constantly evaluating your progress, measuring the distance, feeling the weight of what's not yet accomplished. But when you approach that same goal from the mindset of remembering, you're focused on alignment, on resonance, on allowing what's already complete in consciousness to manifest in your physical experience. The shift from creating to remembering isn't just a change in perspective. It's a complete rewiring of your relationship with reality itself. It moves you from the paradigm of separation to the paradigm of oneness, from the energy of lack to the energy of completion, from the identity of seeker to the identity of knower. What's remarkable about this shift is that it's available to you right now, in this moment. You don't need to earn it or qualify for it. You don't need to spend years in spiritual practice or master complex manifestation techniques. You simply need to recognize what's already true, that what you desire isn't separate from you. It's an extension of you, a natural expression of who you truly are beneath the layers of conditioning and limiting beliefs. Write in the comments, I already am what I seek, if you're feeling the profound truth that what you desire has always been within you, waiting to be remembered rather than created. Now, I want to reveal to you the two-word formula that has the power to completely transform your life when spoken from the right state of consciousness. These two words, when uttered with full conviction, don't just change your beliefs, they change your entire identity. They end the search, they end the waiting. They end the version of you that thought the prize was at the finish line of some spiritual marathon you've been running. Are you ready? These two words are, it's already mine. Say them out loud. It's already mine. Again, slower this time. It's already mine. Let those words sink in. Let them challenge you, because something deep inside might resist this declaration. The old voice might protest, but I don't see it yet. But I don't have it in my hands. But my bank account says otherwise. Notice that resistance without engaging with it. You're not speaking to the past. You're not repeating the old identity. You are declaring what's true from a higher dimension of being. It's already mine. That is your truth now. That is your identity. This declaration isn't about denying your current circumstances. It's about recognizing a deeper reality that exists beneath the surface of appearances. When you say, it's already mine, you're not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You're aligning with what's already true on the level of potential, of divine order, of your birthright. The revolutionary impact of these words comes from their ability to collapse time. Most manifestation approaches keep you locked in a linear timeline, working now for results later, planting seeds today for harvest tomorrow. But it's already mine operates from a different paradigm altogether. It steps outside of time and claims the completion of your desire in the eternal now. This might sound abstract, but the shift in your nervous system when you truly embody these words is anything but abstract. There's a tangible release that happens, a letting go of the striving, a surrender of the forcing. The shoulders drop, the breath deepens, the mind quiets as your being recognizes the truth of what you've just declared. The journey of transformation is really this simple and this challenging. Simple because the words themselves are clear and direct. Challenging because they ask you to stand in a truth that your senses may not yet confirm. They ask you to be the version of yourself that knows before seeing, that claims before receiving, that embodies before manifesting. When you declare, it's already mine, understand what's really happening in that moment. You're not speaking from the limited perspective of your past experiences or repeating affirmations to convince your conscious mind of something it doubts. You're actually declaring from a higher dimension of consciousness, a dimension where time is simultaneous rather than linear, where what you desire already exists in its completed form. Share in the comments, "I claim my divine inheritance," if you can feel the power of these two words beginning to rewrite your entire relationship with reality. As we come to this moment of completion in our journey together, I want you to remember something powerful. November isn't just another month on your calendar. It's your threshold, your portal, the sacred space between who you've been and who you've now decided to be. The version of you who declares, "It's already mine," isn't waiting for permission to live your desires. They're embodying them now, in this moment, regardless of what the external world shows. The transformation we've explored today isn't just a concept to think about occasionally. It's a state to live from, consistently. And if this resonates with the truth you've always known deep within, I invite you to join me on this ongoing journey of embodiment. Subscribe to this channel if you feel called to remain in this frequency, to be surrounded by reminders of who you truly are and what's already yours by divine right. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Simply write, "I claim what's already mine," if this message found its way to exactly the right moment in your journey. Your declaration isn't just words on a screen. It's a ripple in consciousness that affects everyone who encounters it. If you found value in our time together, leave a like on this video, not as validation for me, but as an acknowledgement to yourself that you're committed to this new way of being. Each like creates a marker in your consciousness, a reminder of the day you decided to stop waiting and start embodying. There's a video right here that continues this exploration of embodied consciousness. Click and join me there as we go even deeper into what it means to live from the state of completion rather than seeking. Your journey doesn't end here. It's just beginning to unfold in the most beautiful ways.